So
You always do. You
I
get
always
your
win.
you get your puns in order there. Well, hi there.
Yeah.
I'm Ron Duckett, and welcome to tonight's discussion, the hidden gems of Sims. And joining me tonight, David Baseball Demos. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing just fine, thank you. I don't know why it's telling me the video should have popped up by now. And ID Jester, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, Ron and Dave. How you guys doing tonight?
We're all
Doing
doing well, hopefully.
wonderful. I'm not seeing a video. Anyway, tonight we're going to go through. There we go. Now I see it. Tonight we're going to go through games that we feel deserve more attention that we've played over the years or currently playing now that you might not have heard of, or you're really not sure just how they go and might be interested after we talk about them. So there's no Stratomatic, there's no APA, and there's no out of the park baseball. So we hope that over the next hour and a half or so, we'll talk about some things and, how you doing, Larry Harris in the chat. And maybe you guys have got some things in the chat that you want us to talk about as well. Maybe if we played them. So these two are quite experienced gamers. And Dave, how long have you been doing the baseball sim thing?
Uh, on YouTube, or are you talking about just in general?
In general. Not
In
everyone
general,
plays on
oh,
YouTube.
going back to the early '90s.
And ID, you've been gaming forever, right?
Oh yeah, it's been a long time. I remember having cards when I was a little kid, but
Absolutely, and I've been gaming forever too. About let's see, if I go back to my first real sim PC game, I could go back to Micro League Baseball in the mid '80s.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. I did Earl Weaver back. I guess that was in the '80s, wasn't it?
yep, yeah, I
Okay, with
remember that.
the little wheel that you use for privacy or whatever you call it, the
Copy
key wheel or
protection.
whatever.
Yeah, once
Yeah,
your
copy
ticket.
protection. That's it. Yeah, that's
I
it.
know that you could freeze Micro League Baseball if you tried to hit and run with runners on first and third. The computer didn't like that, or at least mine didn't. How you doing, Tony Whitehill? All right, so we'll start with. I'll go first because I don't want anyone to steal my game. Because I just know, I know that ID is just chomping at the bit to steal my game.
nah, I would actually talk about that quite a bit. So I'm glad you did decide to talk about it.
Yep. So the first, well, let me get the right team up here. I'm going to talk about roster card baseball, and Uncle Ron's going to do some show and tell. That's one team sheet. Okay, you really can't read it because the camera's upside down and all that, but that's what it is, and everything that you have pretty much comes off that sheet. Two teams and the charts, and so you can pretty much have it. I use my other monitor for it, and so I can have it and play a game in about 20 minutes and have it completely scored and have the stats kept in ball score. Lineups already set for you, so you just have to make sure you read up and down the line. It plays very well. Offense for me runs a little bit hot, but that's okay. But as far as, I would put it on the same level as a Strat Basic or an APA Basic. And ID, I'll let you go forward.
Well, I just, I know it's hard for you, so I was just going to show people what this is. One team here. This is from 2006, and you can see each player has their own line, and the batters are up here at the top, pitchers down at the bottom. But this is our whole team on one sheet. So, just to kind of give you guys an idea, I know it's kind of hard for when Ron was trying to hold it up there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I think roster card is a real good game. It plays really well. I came across it not too long ago on my channel. Ended up liking it a lot, and I've actually played some games at work and just scoring it on my phone at work during my lunch hour and having a good time. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's basic pitcher interaction with the batters, and there's fielder interaction. I mean, Greg Sovon, who created this game, also has done Fall Classic baseball and play ball and ball holler, which I've talked about on my channel before. They're all pretty much the same, similar thing. It's kind of a mashup of APA Strat and Status Pro. This one just comes, I think, with like 2 or 3 basic charts. base running advancement chart, and what to do with outs based on that. It's simple. It's 2d6 and it's a d20. I use ball roller to roll the dice, and at most there might be maybe 3 dice rolls for one at bat, depending on the fielding check. But everything has a play in there. If you buy the seasons in bulk, you can get them for as little as $1 a season. And I printed 78 on my home printer, and so it's like 26 pieces of paper into little dividers, and it worked. Have you tried that one, David, or any of the
I have
that line
not
of games?
tried. I printed out some of the MPG Plus, but
Okay.
haven't played it yet. Have not played it yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I've just seen videos on like Fall Classic and Dice Baseball and things like that. So I'm not that familiar with those. I'm more familiar with the more, I guess you want to call them traditional
Right.
games. but uh, but no, I've seen them on. I've seen people playing them. They look remotely interesting, but there's only so many games I can fit in.
Oh, absolutely. And I was thinking of MGD and handing out bottles of Miller Genuine Draft and doing that.
Oh, okay.
But because you can find pretty easily the starting lineups for everybody from, I think, from 1910 to 2004. I think I have, and I'm sure you have them for others. You just load them up into ball stat ball score, and really I can just pull out my sheet, get the other one set up on the other monitor, and be playing in about 2 minutes. I mean, that's just very easy to do, and you roll right through. And like with any good cards and dice game, if you don't like a rule, that's what homebrews are for.
Exactly. Home
Uh,
brews and hybrids.
Hybrids, absolutely.
One thing that I think for note, and for those of you out there that are looking for, this sounds like something that's interesting to you, roster card, you can also get a free Excel helper file to play the game from the designer and basically play the game in Excel. It won't keep track of your score or anything like that, but it'll have your batting order. You can line up your batting order, and it helps manage the game a little bit easier and quicker for you. So I think for a free addition to the game, so you can play both cards and dice, and also kind of a hybrid on the computer.
Right. And if you want to be a stickler for the rules, ID did a very good job explaining how the helper worked. It will do that for you. You would need to keep score another way, but like I said, the footprint for this game is so small that even I can play it, which is for me the big thing with cards and dice is you got to have a lot of room, and it gets warm in here, and so you got to have a fan on, and yada. You don't want cards blowing up all over the place, and the wifey doesn't want to roll over in her sleep and get have some sharp strat card sticking in her back. That's just not going to be that just not conducive to pillow talk.
Yeah.
I know you've played Fall Classic. I mean, if you've played one Windsor Greg Sauvon game, you've pretty much played them all, and that's not being demeaning.
No, I agree. There's some rules that transfer between all three of his different games. Sacrifice hitting, rolling 2 dice, once to see if you get it down, the second one to see if it's a good play. He uses that, I think, throughout all three different games. So the steel rules are very similar. There's a lot of similarity between each three games.
And you can't really beat the price. I mean, if you've played Fall Classic, which we can kind of lead on to from there, that's I think $20 a season. But this is, I think, if you just bought one season, it's what, $5
For
for a roster card.
one
One,
season, yeah, one
yeah,
season is $5. You can get 3 seasons for $10, 5 seasons for 20, and you get all 118 seasons for $99.
$99. I got the 10 seasons for 30. Actually, I bought 15 seasons for $45. So I got them for $3 a season. And just print them they're all in PDF form, so just print them as you want to go. How you doing, W Vogs? Good to have you along. I am Sporticus is here, and so is Dave Gardner, who we're slowly converting into someone who's going to enjoy cards and dice. The peer
I know.
pressure is going to get.
Yes, I saw earlier on my live stream. He said he was cutting out cards Oh, the joys of cutting out cards, my friends.
Absolutely. Especially
So
the old-fashioned way with scissors.
he actually went to Staples and had some stuff printed up today.
Ooh, okay.
So you did it right. Talk about roster card ID. Not roster card, Fall Classic, because you featured that a couple times on your
Fall
channel.
Classic. Yep. Again, very, very interesting system. As Ron said, it was $20 for a season file. You can print out the cards, have them there. I think there's some good interaction between the pitcher and the batter. Again, you're going to look at the batter's card on your dice roll. If there's a number between I think it's like 36 to 66. You're going to go to the pitcher's card and see the result on his card. So there is some interaction between the batter and the pitcher. There's lefty righty splits. There is an Excel helper file again that you can get from the designer that does cost. Now this one does cost $5.
$5 per season, yeah.
$5 per season. So there is a cost to this one, unlike the roster card. But I think I've played it with cards and dice on my channel. I've also done it with the Excel helper file. The Excel helper file works great. Does everything that you can, that you would need it to do to change your lineups. Of course, it won't keep score for you. It won't, tell you if you make a mistake. You basically are just running the game through Excel. So.
Right. It's it's pure cards and dice. There's no AI. It just spits out the results, and you still have to do all the thinking for it. The one thing I liked about that game, ID, was the fact that pitchers had variable grades. So when you're warming up, you roll a die, and so you might get Pedro Martinez, who maybe didn't have a good warm-up session, and pitchers are graded A, B, and C, and so a C isn't going to be as good. Or you could have someone like I'll just pick a bad pitcher, like a Roger Craig from the '62 Mets, and he could have his A game and get a lot harder to get hits off of. I thought that was very clever.
Or
I
something Bob Stanley.
We'll get to that Tuesday, young man.
I'm sorry. What did he say?
Said something about Bob Stanley.
Oh, or Bob Stanley. I got it. Yeah, there's that role for the pitcher to see if they're having a good day, a bad day, or an average day. So you can get some different outings with your different pitchers, which brings in some. You never know what you're going to get. Do you leave a pitcher in that's having a good day because the next guy you bring in, he could have a bad day and not have his A stuff, which could, or if you have a pitcher that's having an off day, you might want to pull him a little bit earlier. So it brings in some more strategy into the game.
Yeah, and I just think it's very creative. That's being sold through ASG Games, which also does golf and a variety of different games. I Am Sporticus says the Excel helper for that isn't all that great or isn't as user friendly, and I would agree. I found that the Valhalla helper I use is much more friendly, and that's written in Visual Basic, and I had to do a lot of work to get that to work. But once I got to work, it was fine. But you seem to like the helper for a roster card, and that wasn't too difficult to maneuver around in.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems with it. I don't know what issues he ran into. I don't know if he specifically says what his problem was with it. Like I said, that's just one of the things is you have to resize your window. So when you click the next batter, it brings up the full card.
Right. No,
I guess there can be an issue where sometimes it doesn't bring up the full card because maybe you didn't click on. If you clicked on a blank square inside of it, then it doesn't know how to register the full card. So there is some of that where it doesn't bring up the full card. But besides that, I mean, to go to change a player, you just go to your roster. You put in the number, what batting position he's going to be, and what his position is going to be, left field, right field, or whatever. And then you just tell it to resort, and it resorts it 1 to 9, and it'll put all the cards in there for you.
Yeah.
So.
The complaint I had about the Fall Classic one is that you basically have to have Excel open 3 times to do it. You got to have the visitors, the home, and the main to run it successfully, and so that was tough. But it's doable, but it's not as user friendly as the other two. All right, Mr. Demos, I know you're not really a PC gamer, but
No.
which one of the which oddball, not oddball, under the radar game would you like to talk about?
Well, I know this is not a religious program, but I've been born again.
Oh, here we go.
Pine tar baseball.
Okay. Okay.
Oh my God! I
Pine
think I'm
tar
gonna have a heart
baseball.
attack.
I have been watching some older videos and seen some way people have tweaked this game and played it a few times with those tweaks, and it's actually a very enjoyable game.
Okay.
Here's all the charts you need right here. This
Oh
is
my
it.
gosh.
One two-sided chart is all you have to reference, is one two-sided chart. Now, I actually did a video for this game. It's coming out Friday, like an unboxing and how to play it and all the components and everything. I've already pre-recorded that. It's going to hit Friday. So, kind of a spoiler here, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, this is one of the things, one of the pluses I gave the game was the fact that you only need one chart.
That's pretty nice.
So, you know, your table space or whatever, like you were concerned about, you don't have much table space to worry about. So that's one of them.
Okay.
The other one I like to mention, and it's not really under the radar because people have seen me play it 1,000 times. In fact, the friends of the community are part of it, and that's History Maker Baseball.
And I was wondering if the Keith Avalone line of games would be considered that, and I think that they are. I don't think that they're as well known. Show us a player card from Pine Tar before you
Sure.
before you move on, so people can see it.
I've actually got a question for David because
first thing I'll show you is the rule book, and it's very colorful and very well written and well done. Let me get an actual card out so you can see it. They actually come on sheets like this. There's 9 players on a sheet.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see this on camera. And there's 2 columns versus lefty pitchers and versus righty pitchers.
That kind of almost looks like Pursue the Pennant.
Yeah, and one of the neater things about the game is the way you get the results. I don't know how I can show this on camera. There are 4 dice. Let me see how I can get this on. I can't
Hold
get this
up a little higher.
There is a D6. See the green D6 in my hand?
Yep.
There's a D6, and there's a red, white, and blue D10. 2 3D10s. 3 D10s, I should say. Red, white, and blue. And there's this little green die.
So from 0 to 999, and then a D6.
Well, no, you only use 2 of the 3.
Oh, okay.
The green die, this green die determines if you use the blue die or the red die.
Interesting.
You roll all 4 dice. If the green die is even, then you use the blue die to go with the white die. But if the green die is odd, you use the red die to go with the white die. But you roll all 4. And so you can kind of see what the result would have been had the green die been even or had it been odd, opposite of what you rolled. So the roll itself is kind of interesting.
Okay, and what seasons are you playing for that, or did you?
Oh, well, the only season I bought was 1982. Oddly enough, you're 1982 for action.
Nothing wrong with that.
The one I put on video, I played like 3 sample innings after I did my little, instructions or whatever, and that was California and Baltimore. I think was who I did. California and Baltimore, if I remember correctly.
So you opened up your pack of Chesterfields and ingested when you need to, right? Yes.
Yes.
All right. So my question for David is after your little meltdown the other day about Pine Tar, I actually went to their website thinking, well, this sounds like a game that I don't know much about. I should check this out.
Right.
And they don't have, but
they've got like 4 seasons.
They only have like 4 seasons, but their website, their news page is from 2015, and they're talking about their Kickstarter program, which ended in 2015, and I'm like,
right.
Are they still supporting this game? Are they still developing it? Are they still coming out with it?
See, I don't know a whole lot about the game now. Like I said, they come in the sheets of 9, but I like to cut them out. So I cut them out into individual cards, so that they, or like you're holding them in your hand like a deck of cards.
Right.
And one of the features that this game has and no other game has that I'm aware of is the pitcher grade. There's 2 pitcher grades. Well, actually, there's 3 pitcher grades. One for home, one for away.
Oh, no, I've never heard of that one before.
But within the home and away, there's 2 grades each for them as well. There's a grade to the left. It's like APA, A, B, C, D grades. But each pitcher is rated the first 2 times through the order, they get the grade on the left. When they face the order for the 3rd time, they get the grade on the right. And that can either be up or down based on how they performed in real life.
Interesting.
So like a Jeremy Hellickson would have a terrible grade the 3rd time through because he's notorious for them not letting him go a 3rd time through the order.
So A, B, C, and D?
Yeah, it goes all the way down to G, I think. And the way the pitchers are interacting, the way it does in the book, there's this what they call a pitcher modifier table. And you have to roll on those D10s. You have to get a multiple of 5, 0 through 50. Any multiple of 5, 0 through 50, you go to this table. But I've seen it done where they've done multiples of 4. So what I did is I took not only multiples of 4, but also kept the multiples of 5. So now I've got like a 20% chance of the pitcher affecting each at bat versus like a 10% chance by bumping that up. But that's like the home brew for me.
Cool. And so 82, what do you know off the top of your head what the other seasons were?
Well, they have 2016 and 1970. They have 1973 and they have 1960.
Interesting.
And after that, you're going back to like Beatles Eternally 1890s or something, with the dead ball. But modern is the 4 seasons, like Frankie Valli in the 4 seasons, 60, 73, 82, and 2016.
Interesting choices.
And they have not done anything since 2016, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't do a 17 or 18. Maybe they're just not selling enough. I don't know. They do offer it PDF, but I wouldn't suggest it because if you do these in color like this, you're going to burn through a color printer big time. So
yeah.
And the card stock's pretty good. I would put it right up there with Inside Pitch as far as it's not as good as Payoff Pitch, but it's up there with Payoff with Inside Pitch as far as it's a 110-pound card stock is what this basically is.
The chart came with the game, or is that something you printed?
Yeah, well, you buy the game for
and like was in the box.
$20, and you get the instructions, the charts, and everything, and then you buy the season. I think that was like $20 or something for the season.
That's not bad
as well. So, yeah, they're on sale, or they're reduced from what they were when I bought them. They were like $30 close when I bought them, but now they're less. And also, let me show another one real quick. This. When you get to the start of each team, it has like this. See this white area here? It's got the team name and everything.
Yes.
And it's got some of the player cards in here. All right. Now, what you do is you cut this out when you're cutting out all the cards, and it becomes a convenient holder. See, here's the one for the Atlanta Braves. You put the cards right in here, and put a rubber band around them, but this thing protects them from the rubber band, and you've got your little cards. So I've got all these cards already in teams ready to go.
That's clever.
Now, some of the other ones, and they're very colorful, it depends on what kind of color you like, but here's the Pittsburgh Pirates. You can see how they're nice and yellowy.
Yep.
If you're into that mustard stuff.
I was
nice
worried when you were showing the baby blue background who that was, because that could be potentially hard to read, but that's very, very colorful.
But anyway, that's my, and actually right after I had that little rampage, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go back and look at this thing one more time just to see if there's something I missed. And I think there was something I missed because I went back to YouTube videos to see other people play it and how they modified it, and that kind of got me into it. Now, would I rate this right up there with Payoff Pitch? No way. But it's a good diversion. It's something I'll pull out maybe once a week or once every other week and just roll a game. I wouldn't try to do a season replay with it.
Okay.
Although it does come with about 27 to 28 players per team. So
that's a lot, especially for that year.
I mean, for your 82 Orioles, it came with Bob Bonner and it came with Glenn Gulliver. So I mean,
yeah.
So if it comes with Bonner, that's pretty good because Bonner is a schlub.
Yep. Still on the most expensive, probably one of the premier baseball cards of the 80s, but it wasn't because of him.
Exactly.
All right.
I did a video, kind of like an unofficial unboxing and a how-to, and explained the charts and that's coming out later. But that's just what they call a teaser, I guess.
what time frame are you looking for a game? Hour or less or more?
To me, probably 35, 40 minutes tops.
That's not
Because
bad.
on the plays when you're not referencing the charts, it flows just like APA. I mean, it's rolling. You're rolling. You're rolling. You're rolling. I mean, one roll covers everything if you need chart. And also, when you go to the charts, right, you don't re-roll if you need to look at a second chart. You use the same dice roll for the whole at bat, which is kind of neat too.
Cool.
Like you always use a white die and a colored die, whether it's red or blue, but the white die determines like fielder's choice, ground ball double play, things like that. So there's lots to like. There's several things not to like, which I still think pitcher interaction is a little bit iffy. But
But
comparatively
different.
speaking, I gave it a C. I mean, I actually graded the thing in my video. I gave it a C overall. So compared to what I was talking about the other week, I would have given it an F. But I gave it a C when I gave it a second look.
But I like the innovations with the different grades hold
There,
away. I mean, that's the
yeah, there
Julio
are a
part.
lot of innovations. The guy who did it's from a company called Life is Sports Games, and the guy went out and interviewed different players to find out what they liked in a game, and apparently he got these feedback. So it's got a little bit of History Maker baseball in it. It's got a little bit of APA in it. It's a little bit of different things in it. Definitely a lot of APA in it for sure.
I am Sporticus, who had a question for ID. I thought I saw the creator of the game, a Pine Tar on Delphi, saying he was looking to create a new game, but still moving forward with Pine Tar. So, something to
Okay.
watch.
Okay.
All
That's
right, ID. Someone, I am Sporticus, asked you about Dugout Steps. Is that something you've played?
What's it called?
Dugout Steps. I've
No,
not
I
played
don't
it.
play dugout steps.
I've heard of it. I never played it, but I've heard of it.
I've
Never,
heard of it.
never
All
heard
right.
of it.
Okay, so I guess that takes care of that question. So, what game did you have in mind to start, Mister Jester?
Well, I was just looking for my charts since David got all fancy and had charts and stuff, but I didn't know we were going to be doing charts and everything.
Hey, you don't
was
have
going
to
through-
one up each other. Then it kind of devolves into a
He
pun.
didn't. He
Oh,
didn't know
no.
there was going to be math on the test. So
I'm getting out my charts, though. So
Lori
there you go.
Laughlin couldn't buy his way into USC, right?
yeah.
So I'm going to talk about a game. I don't play it very often on my channel. I think it is a really under the radar game, but it's based upon a very, very successful baseball game called Pursue the Pennant, which was designed back in, I think, 1993-ish or somewhere around
Pursue
there.
the Pennant is older than that. That came out in the mid '80s.
Oh, was it the 1980s? Okay. And then
Yeah.
it went defunct there for a little while. And so no one really kept up on it until either Dynasty League ended up getting the license for it or permission to develop it again or whatever they did. But there was also an offshoot because there was nobody taking care of it and no one had the rights to it or whatever. And so an internet group got together and decided that we could use this system and develop it and design it our own way and continue it. And that is actually called Internet Baseball League. You can go to their website, ibl.org, and they picked it up in 1997. And every year they create their own charts, their own rules, their own formulas, everything for the game. And they put out the cards and the charts and everything for you guys to download and use for their players and anyone else that wants them. So they are free. You can get them for free from their website if you're interested in checking that out. So it's based upon a three 10-sided dice. You roll. If it's 000 to 499, you're going to get the results off of the batter card. If it's 500 to 999, you're going to get the results off the pitcher card. It does have lefty-righty splits, so if you do like lefty-righty splits, this game does come with that. There is about 12 pages of charts because they have decided to go pretty deep with this game, actually. We're actually going to roll for the weather. You're going to roll for the wind direction, and the wind direction is actually going to adjust like how high or how far you have to hit it to get a home run. You get a certain number,
That's
and
pretty intense. Yeah.
and yeah, so you got, like, for example, here at AT&T Park, they've broken down the outfield into left field down the line, left field, left center field, right field, and right field down the line. And each one of those has their own stat. That's how far you have to hit the ball to get a home run. And there's also fence height, which if the height is 11 feet or less, you can have a chance of a robbery of a home run as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a rather intensive game because of these extra rules and stuff. It's not as quick playing as just roll the dice and get the result, because a lot of times you're going to have to check. And even on, you know how like Stratomatic does ground ball A, ground ball B, and ground ball C. In this game, a ground ball B can still be out at second based upon whether the runner, you know, how fast his run rating is on the first. It might be an out at second, or it might be around out at first. So, you know, there is a lot more complexity to it, which can bog the game down, as we've talked about. But it also, if you're into, you know, not just rolling the dice to get a result, you're into trying to see what's happening on the baseball field.
Mm-hmm.
I think this game, along with Dynasty League, does a great job of actually presenting that to the players, because they're a lot more involved in and deeper.
Right. And Kenny Castro mentions they also have a Legend set, a Hall of Fame set, and a '79 World Series set. I think you two were talking about the same game.
Not that I know of.
Okay, maybe he's talking
He must
about.
be talking about something else.
All right, he'll chime in, I'm sure, with that. Pursue the Pennant, I think, came out in the mid '80s and was. They kind of compared themselves to Strat, if I remember reading it. Someone will tell me if I'm wrong, because that always happens. Um, and they were trying to come up with a more detailed game. So what, like you said, with the possible robberies and the specific weather for things to be as realistic. But how long does it take you to play one of those games? About an hour?
I would say probably a little bit longer than an hour, because, like I said, it's not. There are several times you'll have to roll 2 or 3 times just to get an out. You know, there'll be times where it's just a simple ground ball out or a fly ball out and stuff like that. But there'll be other times where you'll have to, like an error check. You got your original roll, you find out it's an error check, you got to roll it again to find out if the player made an error. You got to look up the player's error range, you got to look on the chart, you got to take in any modifiers if they're holding base runners on. I mean, the modifiers, just for example, I will show you. If you're talking about an infield range play here, an infield range play, your modifiers are infield is in. Infield is in. That can turn a double play pivot. An infield in adjustment for an outfielder, and in first baseman that's holding a runner. Short and second base, it has an adjustment for an in the hole or an up the middle play. An infielder that is guarding the lines, and an infielder that's guarding the down the line as opposed to in the hole, and of course a hit and run play as well. So there are a lot of adjustments that you can get into, which is cool because you can set your defense. I mean, there's not a lot of games that have. I mean, there are some, but you can guard the lines in this game.
But this certainly would be considered along with the Appa Master and the Super Advanced for Stratomatic.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely. I would say probably a little bit even more complex than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you know, you have your. I mean, just your infield range plays can be up the middle, in the hole, a slow roller, a high chopper, a down the line, a line drive, and a close play. So you have many different options for just a simple ground ball.
Wow. Dave, we can't see you.
Hey, Ron. Ron, can you
We
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Okay, I'm going to try to close this and open it back up. I just wanted to let you know what I was doing.
All right, that's fine.
I lost it. Yeah, I don't know why, and I keep trying to come back and it says you're already on the call. So whenever I click on it, it just goes away. So I'm going to try to shut this down and rejoin
All
and
right.
see if the refreshing will help.
Okay.
So I'm gone for a couple seconds.
All right. Cool. The joys of
David and his phones, I swear. David and his phones.
Yep. What are you going to do?
Not much. Not much. So that's
You're only as good as
kind
your
of,
equipment.
Thank you.
so that's been about the last 20 years or so, you said, for that one?
Yeah, they started in 1997.
Sounds like Dave's gone to his old landline phone here to try to get
Oh
in,
my
and
gosh.
little AT&T switcher to get through to the Google Hangout this evening.
Right. So they designed it, or they develop it for their own, obviously, internet baseball league. So if you're looking to join a league, they're always looking for players to come in and play with them. And they release the cards after the season for everyone else to download and enjoy and play. So they don't have, what I'm saying is they don't have any seasons previous to 1997, and they don't have any plans to do any
It's not what they're
seasons
about.
because they're doing it for themselves, and they're
Right.
saying, okay, if you guys want to use these cards, go ahead, here they are, but we're doing this for ourselves. So
Sebastian Strat, how are you? And Appa Chatter, good to have you along. Absolutely. I've read about it. I think I read through it once and decided I probably didn't need a game that was that complex. But it sounds like you've got a pretty good handle on how to play it. And but yeah, that's not one that you bring out for a first time cards and dice guy.
no, I would say not. It's probably a little bit too more involved than that for a newbie or someone. I did a tutorial video the other day. Kind of got a lot of great replies from everyone about it. Because I think one of the reasons I wanted to kind of bring it out is because I don't think people don't know about it, or they don't understand how to play it, or things can be they download all these charts and they're not sure what plays, how to handle the different plays on the different charts and stuff. So,
And there's nothing wrong with a complex game. I mean, it really depends on, the Appa Master, Stratomatic, Super Advanced, Replay. I think kind of qualifies in that category of, look, I want to make every decision and I want to break everything down.
yeah.
And there's they all do those things rather well, and it sounds like that this was there.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're talking about like just stealing, just to show you how complex it can get. Is when you go to steal, you can have an outcome of you can be in there standing, you can be safe, you can be safe in the air, you can be cut down, you can be out, you can be in a rundown, you can have a blown call, which is kind of cool because you can actually get a reversal of an out or a safe call. There can be a collision, and there can also be a cutoff play option as well. So there is it's not just roll the dice to get an out or a safe. A lot of other variables can end up happening.
Dave is
Am I
back.
back? I'm back. Okay. I had to
You are.
restart my whole phone.
Wow, we overheated you. All this baseball
Yeah.
talk just overheated your phone.
The
Sebastian,
IT guy at work taught me a long time ago, when in doubt, restart.
that's exactly right. Sebastian Strat asks, has anyone played extra innings from Jack Kavanaugh?
I've never heard of it.
Have
No,
you?
I've never.
Okay, I have. And basically, it's a game of math. It's an interesting game, but it's a game of math. You roll three, I think it's three six-siders, and you get a basic a batter, and then the pitcher we lost it. Oh, we're kind of getting it back again. And then you kind of the pitcher can subtract from that. And so yeah, I would imagine it's a fairly accurate game, but man, it's kind of like pulling teeth. That's going to be one of those that you maybe try once or twice. Of course, it was free, and said, nope,
Not for me.
not for me. But I mean, it's kind of complex, and in a way, and David's kind of bopping. Oh, there we go again. Early mid '60s, yeah. So it's kind of a computer game before a
Back now.
computer game. Yeah, I think I played some mid '80s teams on it, and it just was a little too. For me, it was too much of a math exercise. But like I said, it was surprisingly for what it was. It was deep. It didn't take up a lot of space. Um, it was three six-sided dice, if I remember correctly. Yeah, okay. Yep. Sebastian Strat says I'm right with that. So,
I've
but
got.
yeah,
I don't know if David has another one he wants to talk about, but I've got a couple more. If he's
is he back or is
I
he?
have one ID, but go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead, ID.
Are you sure?
He's
Yeah.
having trouble.
Okay.
So I'm having video problems, so go ahead.
Another game that just recently I started playing and came across was Deep Drive Baseball.
Oh yeah, that looked fun.
And I really like that one. It's the developer of the game was really nice. He saw that I had posted a game on my channel. He emailed me and we had a giveaway on my channel here when we replayed the 2018 World Series, and it was a really interesting system. The way that you get the, I'm sorry,
The wrong team won.
the right team won in 5 games. I hate to admit it. It was 5 games, but the Dodgers ended up taking out the Red Sox in 5 games,
Like
and
I said, the wrong team won.
miracle comeback in that game 5. That was an absolutely unbelievable turn of events. Bases loaded grand slam in the bottom of the 8th to go from 3 down to 1 up, and that was awesome.
I watched one of those games, ID, and what intrigued me the most was that everyone kind of had individual out ratings, and it was a very simple dice roll to do.
Yes, which I thought was really cool too. If you get the result off the pitcher card to have a 0 to 9, you look at the 10-sided dice to get the result of the play on there. Most everything is it's going to be 3 10-sided dice, but you use 2 10-sided dice to get the play result, and the other 10-sided dice is what they call the modifier dice. It's going to give you your out results or whether or not your runners advance or whatever from a hit. So I think it's
Is deep.
good, David.
Oh, there was one I might be thinking of Deep Drive where I think it costs $1 to get the World Series teams. Is that Deep Drive or another game?
Yeah, that was Deep
I'm
Drive.
thinking of.
Correct. Yes.
I think you could order for like $1 as a sample just to see if you like it.
Yeah,
Of
the
thing.
2 teams.
Right. You get the
Yeah.
charts and you get
That
the
was Deep
book.
Drive then, right?
Right. Yes.
That was Deep Drive, right?
Yes.
Okay. That looked interesting when I went on the website. That looked pretty interesting.
Yep. I think it's. I ended up buying 5 of the PDF seasons. They weren't too expensive. I think they were like $12 a piece. So I ended up getting 5 of them. To help support the designer developer as he struggles to get a foothold into things. I don't mind, buying a few seasons and giving him, some support and some love. And I think the game is there's a, as I mentioned when we played our game, there's a few issues that I would like the designer to rethink about and reevaluate. But for the first coming of this game, I think it's a pretty good start. Let's put it that way. I would highly recommend at least you to download the World Series teams for $1 and give it a try.
I know that Kenny Castro bought the 1882 season. Not that I have a lot of interest in that, but he really was enjoying it. What other seasons are available?
There's about 15 to 20 seasons. There's some a few 2000 seasons, a couple 1990, a couple 1980, a couple 1970, a couple 1960, and I think he only goes back to like 1954. Might have been the oldest season he's done. But I mean, that's still probably there's maybe
So a good
20.
sample then.
there's a pretty good variety. Gives you, if you're a '70s guy, there'll be a season there for you. If you're an '80s guy or a '90s guy, there'll be a season or two for you to play.
Kenny Castro says 53, 13, and 26, which we'll get to. We'll send ID the 1913 season relatively soon.
Sounds like a good hockey team's record.
All right, let's get Dave's video issues. There's a game I'd like to talk to him about, but we're kind of freezing up.
It's got to be my carrier, because it's not the phone. I think it's the Wi-Fi or whatever signal I'm getting from T-Mobile on Sunday nights must be, a crowded airwaves. So
people
it may
are
be intermittent that I'm getting this.
Pornhub on their phones is what it is.
David, do you have Wi-Fi at home?
No.
All right, he's on. So let me ask, while we have you here, History Maker Baseball. Talk about that.
Well, I went out again, but hope you can hear me anyway.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, History Maker Baseball, it's a separate niche. So, I mean, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And when I first ran into it, it didn't appeal to me either. I had to warm up to it, kind of thing. But one of the neat things about it is, of course, you don't have the hardcore stats. You've got ratings, which are based on stats, but that also makes it very easy to create your own players. I mean, I couldn't go create a strat card or an APA card or something like that, but I can create a History Maker card for anybody. And also, another hidden thing that I think some people like, including myself, are the fictional sets. I didn't think I would like fictional sets, but you can create your own universe, name your own teams, pick your own cities, and then you have to sit there and figure out what kind of lineup. I'm so used to playing as-played lineups where decisions already made for me. Now I've got to come up with one myself. So that's an extra thing. And also, it's the only game that does umpires, which is another.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Little niche.
I was talking with Dave Gardner about that game because we're trying to, figure out something that he might enjoy doing a cards and dice version of. And the one thing that you defended really well when you and I talked about it, maybe it was the night that you were on my show,
Probably.
was the fact that because everything is kind of given a skill or a trait, as opposed to player A hit 293, 20 homers, and 57 RBIs. It kind of, for those who are not math majors, it's kind of an easier game to get into because you can understand what a sad sack is as opposed to, yeah.
I mean, you can look at the card instantaneously and see if he's a good hitter or not. You don't have to worry about what his OPS is or whatever. You just say, oh, he's a slugger, so that means he hits the ball hard. Or he's a scrapper, that means he doesn't have any power. Or he's an ace, which means he's very good.
Right. You did, what year Braves did you do the full 162?
1987.
And how close did you come?
I have to go back and look at the stats. The team stats, I think I was maybe 4 games under what they did in real life. But the player stats, I did a whole video on this, and I actually sent the results to the creator to tell him this, is that many of the stats were actually pretty close. Very reasonable for what you would expect. The game did produce more strikeouts and walks than I thought should have been. But he said he defended that, saying that when he created the game, he thought people liked strikeouts. So that's one of the reasons why, he's a strikeout pitcher.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and there's one player in particular, Ken Oberkfell. If you remember Ken Oberkfell from the day, he didn't strike out a lot. He was a contact hitter. So when they rated him as a semi-good eye instead of a good eye. They rated him a semi-good eye. Well, in real life, I think he struck out 25 times and 400-something at bats. And in my replay, he struck out 50 times because the desired eye kept being blank. And I'm like, if this guy was a true good eye, he wouldn't be striking out so much. So, I mean, the rating there, I disagree with some of the ratings they have on there, but that's just my personal opinion. Because, like, for defense, you just have your basic gold, neutral, iron. It's not 1 through 5 like Strat or 1 through 9 like APA. Or whatever, and your defensive range and errors are all wrapped into one rating, which is similar to what the Pine Tar uses. It uses plus, minus, and neutral for their defensive ratings. Same type of thing. But the thing I like, like I said, the thing I like is the fictional set for one, and then you can create players for the other.
Steve Tower did some games with a fictional set for that. Of course, you can all the play
Fernando De La Rosa.
and all the play.com games have a fictional variant of some
Yes, they all
sort.
have a fictional variation to them because that's what people like. See, people that like those kind of games tend to like the fictional stuff. Now, I would only like it for baseball. I wouldn't like it. I don't think I would like fictional for hockey or football, but people do. So,
Be curious to try. I'm not sure. We talked about
and actually,
OOTP. Yeah.
Payoff Pitch has a fictional set too, but I don't think a Payoff Pitch would be conducive for a fictional set like History Maker would be.
No,
But there is a fictional set for Payoff Pitch. If you go on their website at the very last page, I think it's 2014 fictional set.
All right, Appa Chatter's going to go. 18 people watching. Let's get some likes. Only 3 people have liked the video so far. We're not that bad. I'll promise I'll shave before I come on again. Kenny Castro
and
says
don't let my phone issues cause somebody not to like your video.
Well, we haven't got any thumbs down yet.
Don't penalize Uncle Ron for me.
Kenny Castro says that History Maker is a wonderful game for what ifs. The community things that you did were good, and Rob did the red, white, and blue racing the community thing, and that was good too. So very conducive for that. All right, ID. I'm sure you want to talk about Payoff Pitch.
Yeah, but before we get to Payoff Pitch, since we're talking about what ifs, I got another one that I'd like to talk about because we're talking about what ifs, and that's Superstar Baseball. Superstar Baseball.
Oh, the Dombrov, right?
Yeah, I think that one. It's not designed to do a replay. I don't think, because it just has tons and tons of really good players from 1855 up to modern times. So you get sheets and sheets and sheets and sheets. It all comes in PDF. I'm sorry, it doesn't come as a PDF. You get an actual disc.
Came on a CD.
Yeah, it came on a CD, and on the CD are all PDFs. But you just get like 3,500 players on the disc, and you can just print out whoever you want and create your own teams, your own leagues, your own. If you want to take the 1968 Dodgers and face them against 1974 Red Sox, it's just not for that because it's not going to have all the players that you're going to need for that kind of replay. I'm going to take the best players from the Baltimore Orioles from the 70s, and I'm going to put them against the Red Sox best players from the 80s. And it's kind of a fictional, imaginary league that you can create. It doesn't have all the players in it. It just has the best of the best, which is nice because you get to see and play with the players that are best of the best. So you get all that. It was $40. You get the original game, the game charts and everything like that, and then you get all those PDFs with all the extra players on there. It's just a one-time fee that you can get, and like I said, it ended up not being for me because I don't like fictional stuff. And the other thing is you need special dice for it to run it because there's like a dice that has like a 0, 2 1s, and 2 2s.
Decider die, yeah.
No, it's not really a cider die. It's a 1 0 through 4, and the other dice is 0 through 5.
Okay.
And then there's like one normal dice. So you need a couple special dice. I mean, if you got blank dice.
Hi, Roger Ward. Mr. Mike says it's great for draft leagues, which is absolutely true.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for a draft league, a fictional thing. I figured since we're talking about History Maker Baseball, making your own teams, making your own leagues, I think David would really, really like it because that's right up David's alley. Ended up, like I said, not being for me. I did a couple videos on my channel just because I like history. I like recreating history. I like really, what had really happened and seeing what happens, not fictional things. I think Al does a lot of fictional stuff. David does might like it as well because he likes creating these fictional.
Yeah, I mean draft leagues are right there. I'm not a huge fan of it. Yes, sir.
Before ID goes to Payoff Pitch, I want to stay on History Maker for one more thing.
Go right ahead. Yep.
There's 2 other aspects of that I forgot to mention. One of them is in August, early August. They come out with the current season cards with
Oh, for the first half?
ratings for like the first 75% of the games. So in early August, he's going to release the set for 2019. So because he's doing it on ratings, not on stats, so he's just going to
Right.
cut it off like as of August 6th or whatever his date is, and then a couple days later the set comes out. So if you want to get the set and kind of play the stretch drive or pennant race, you can do that. That's one of the options you can do with that game.
Excellent.
I haven't done that yet, but I have done where I've played an actual. I took the season set last year. I got last August and played a game right before it actually happened, and I think I got very close to the same score. It's like a Milwaukee Chicago game or something like that. And
Excellent.
speaking of hybrids, I did a video. I only did it once because I don't know how well it was received or whatever. But I did a hybrid game called Stratomaker Baseball where I took Stratomatic, but put in some inserts of History Maker Baseball on certain Stratomatic rolls, like 6-6, 5-5, or things that are multiples. So if it's like 6-6, we're going to the chemistry chart, or we're going to the whatever chart.
Yeah, because you can do the manual dice rolls with that.
Right, exactly.
Kenny Castro did the playoffs in 2016 with it in season teams, so that's kind of cool.
That's just another little tidbit that you can, that is one of the niceties about his. Whereas for Strat or Appa, you got to wait till about January or February to get the
at least I
2019
think
set.
Replay didn't even come out till after the season
Yeah,
started.
that was late this year.
But Peter, he didn't feel good.
He was having some issues, I think. Payoff Pitch came out fairly quick compared
And
to other
so
games.
let's get into that because ID kind of slid it into one of the games I was doing that there possibly may be a computer version. Someone's going to
Ooh,
take more of my money.
they would get my
I'm not
money in a
sure about
heartbeat.
that. I know that I've been in touch with the developer multiple times over multiple different things for multiple different reasons. Number one is for my payoff pitch
Talk
chart.
about that for a minute because even though I haven't commented on any of the stuff that you sent because I can't play the game, that's just tremendous work. Tell people what
I
you've
just
done.
one of the the cool thing about payoff fetch, and I think David would agree with me, is the way you can play it. There's different ways to play it. There's different stats on it. You can do base stealing with, whether the runner gets the jump, or you can do base stealing with the pitcher getting the hold. So it's very open-ended in how you wish to play it, I guess is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to use the fast action cards to get your play results and move the game along really quickly, or you can use the charts if you like using charts. So there's multiple different ways to do
Yeah.
things.
And I played a whole game with fast action cards before. Nothing but fast action. Played the whole game that way. That's an option.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need dice at all. You can use the fast
Right.
action cards. You can play with dice and fast action cards, which lots of people do.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Weecher Bums Gaming does that, and also Combat Painter does a great job with
Yes.
his payoff pitch as well. So the only issue for me, and it wasn't even an issue, it was if I wanted something that took the stats of the players and brought the stats back in because I'm a stat guy, right? So I like having new stats in the game. And when I flip up a fast action card and it says runner goes first to third, it doesn't take into consideration, how fast is that runner, how good is the outfielder's arm and stuff. So I just created some charts to kind of bring the stats back into the game. But with that said, it takes a little bit more time because you now have to look up player stats and you have to look at the different play cards and stuff like that. It's not as quick as flipping up a fast action card to get a result. So there's kind of a balancing act. How do you want to play faster and get the game done, or would you rather get more of the player stats back into the game? And it's been well received. I've got a lot of really good feedback from everyone. We've made some adjustments. This is now version 7 of the charts. And so a lot of player feedback. And I think we're, at the point now through our community, our great players out there that have tested and given me some advice on them. I've made some changes. I think we're now about ready to submit them to the designer and see if he likes them enough to post them on his website. So,
Phantomatic says that he likes the dice and fast action cards together. And I'll get to Todd's question in a second. I don't know if you have handy ID any of the printed cards from that. I remember watching some of your unboxing videos for that and was incredibly impressed with the quality of the actual, because you can buy them in PDF as well and print them out yourself. But
yeah,
the quality of the product that you get
yes.
for
Oh, absolutely.
I without a doubt, for me at this point in 2019, Payoff Pinch is my number one card and dice game for several reasons. And the big two being the quality of the components, which you get, and the customer support that you get from the designer and developer. He's gone above and beyond what any designer developer that I've come across so far has been willing to do. I got a shipment the other day, that little package, an envelope from Payoff Pitch the other day, and it was basically the 2000, or I'm sorry, the 1983 set he just released. There was a couple player cards that had the wrong numbers on them. Instead of just posting a PDF and saying change these numbers, he sent out brand new cards to everyone that ordered
oh
pre-ordered
my goodness, that's not cheap.
pre-ordered the 1983 season with brand new cards, and he threw in a couple extra player cards as a "I'm sorry this happened" type thing. I mean, yeah.
Now he also gives you every player. You got to order for the extra cards, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another thing is when I talked to the designer, I said, I'm really interested in getting a couple more seasons. I'd like to get the extra player cards, and he said that he was going to make these available, and he wanted to know what seasons I wanted to order. So I emailed him back, and he actually posted those on the website so that I could actually order the printed copy of those cards, which I ended up getting from him, the extra player cards and the regular set. And the fringe player cards, we're talking about players that had like 6 at bats, 2 at bats, 1 at bat. I mean, it's just goes
Incredible
down to
customer
just
service.
about everyone you can get,
Or
and
you can download the PDF for free of those too, if you wish.
which is absolutely true. You can download the PDF for free if you want to print them out yourself. But I wanted, if I'm, I'm the quality of the stuff was so good. I mean, I
Yeah.
can go on and on and on and on, but is if you guys have been on my channel and there was a problem at the printer, and he got the order that for me, but he printed wrong. So he gave me free shipping on my order for just the delay in the printing, and I'm like, dude, it wasn't your fault. Don't do that. I don't care. I already paid for it. Just don't do that. And he's like, no, I refuse to charge you for shipping because I've had you wait on this and everything. He's gone above and beyond anything. If I could tell anyone out there that's watching this video, go and support this guy because he will give you everything and beyond whatever you wish, and to make you happy with his product. And I'm a satisfied customer, and I think there's a lot of players out there that are.
And I would add too, I think it's worth it to get the extra players in the mail versus PDF, because when I try to put the PDF cards and insert them with the printed cards,
Oh,
it's like
it's
a sore
just not the
thumb. It's like a
same.
sore thumb.
Just not
Yeah,
the same.
it's like I don't even want to play with this guy because it looks so bad when I print it out. I think it's worth the extra $10 or $12, whatever the cost. I don't know what the costs are, but without looking at it, but it's to me it's worth it to get, because you like the '83 set I think had 100 and something extra players or something like that. 2018 probably had a whole bunch more than that, but to me, it's worth it to get to pay the little bit extra to get the card quality, because it's second to none in any other gaming out there.
What
I mean, it's not even
intrigued
close.
what intrigued me the most watching you guys play it is the pitcher batter interaction. You roll
Yes.
the two D10s and the two D6s, and there's
Yep.
enough variety in the pitchers that it depends on each at bat can be very different, and
Yeah.
then the results are pretty much all off the card, and then you may flip a fast action for the base running
Yeah.
thing. So it's one of
And
the
I mean, you could be rolling, and you could be, you could be the team managing the team that's pitching. And you roll a tough result. You say, "All right, I got him." Well, then the pitcher, the hitter, can get a good hitter has some hit ranges in their tough categories. So you try to get a Wade Boggs or somebody out, and that tough turns into a single pretty easily.
Yep. And if I had only one complaint, and maybe David can tell me his story as well, my only complaint that I would have with this game is there's the tough pitchers can be a little too tough. They'll have a lot of tough results on their cards, and just to get a chance at like a patient result or an in-play result is very, very slim. So you can have a tough pitcher that's just hammering you inning after inning after inning after inning, and that's the only downside I have to the game is when you run up against these tough pitchers. The cards are probably based on stats, but man, it is so hard to get anything. I've faced Scherzer twice, and he's basically blanked us both times. We just can't get a hit on him.
as it should be, but because
Can you
that's the
imagine if they came out with a 1968 set, what Bob Gibson would do in that game?
That'd be a lot of tough results.
or 2000 Pedro, and his ERA plus was like 250.
Or even I think Combat Painter took it over for me. I tried to start it, but I kind of lost interest in it. But I think he did a Jacob deGrom replay with payoff pitch from this past season, and
Wow.
I don't remember what his numbers were, but that's also another tough one to go at. Or like a Clayton Kershaw from a couple of years ago, or Jake Arrieta. Just name your favorite tough guy. So.
Yeah. Because, I mean, when you get a tough result, you still look at the batter's card, but the batter might only have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 numbers on there that he can get a hit on a tough result. So you're basically down to like a 4% chance of getting a hit. And if you don't get any of those hits, you can just suffer inning after inning after inning.
Yeah.
Todd B quickly asks, is there a PC game out there which I could import the 81 season stats and play out the games that were canceled? You should be able to just import the schedule into like an Action PC or an OOTP. I think might actually have the non-strike games.
I'm sure Strat probably has it on their PC.
Yeah, I think you can.
They usually do an as played or an as scheduled, so you probably download the as scheduled.
It would be an as scheduled, and Retro Sheet offers the as schedules. In fact, Ron Bernier, I think, offers an as scheduled if you want to manually input it. Someone asked about Status Pro. I'm not quite sure that qualifies as a hidden gem since it's been around forever and was published by Sports Illustrated.
Well, there is a portion of that's a hidden gem to me because the game no longer is produced by the main manufacturers, but it's all online now.
Right.
And so the seasons PDF for like $10, and they come with lefty righty splits now. Before, it was just a basic card. And the only left-right split was the 87-88 results or the 12-13-14 results. Now the player cards are rated lefty and righty.
He's actually done all 4 sports for Status Pro: baseball, football, basketball, and hockey.
Didn't know that.
Yep, you've done you did for your first Manic Monday a Status Pro game. Yep. That would be a game I would never play since it's all fast action card driven. But go ahead. Sell the community on it. What did you like about it?
I mean, I don't have a problem with fast action cards because
a lot of people don't.
Yeah, because for one thing, you shuffle every 3 innings, so your randomness. I've never had a problem with randomness whatsoever. And a couple of flips, you're done. I mean, it's a pretty fast flowing game, and the pitcher not only it's a 50-50 game, but the better pitchers have better chances to affect the game. So a really good pitcher would have a PB of 2.9, whereas a bad pitcher would have a 2.5. So you got a better chance for the good pitcher to affect the game and have the bat off his card versus off the batter card, where a strat is a true 50.
Right?
It's called 50-50. But the better pitchers don't get more chances off their strat cards than a poor pitcher would.
Nope.
An app, you do.
Bob Stanley and Roger Clemens at 86 are going to have equal chances to do things. Yes.
I have the 86 APA set. I could do something like that. So.
Okay.
Not APA, I mean Status Pro.
Right.
I got the APA set too. But that's
But okay, because yeah, I mean, you seem to be enjoying when you did that game. You were enjoying it a great deal,
Yeah.
and I just
Well, a
oh
lot of
my,
these games I enjoy when because it's something different. It's a change of pace.
right.
Because I'm doing the 77 White Sox strat thing, but I want to do something different besides strat all the time. So this whole Monday thing is just give me a way to kind of hit different games along the way. Like this coming Monday
Mhm.
is going to be replay baseball. I've already recorded. It's going to air tomorrow.
Yep.
Replay baseball. The following weeks will be inside pitch. So I'm just kind of rotating the games, and eventually it might even be pine tar. So you never know.
Converted. He converted himself.
Yeah,
I'm
born
Wow.
again.
absolutely amazed.
So.
Uh, I want to talk about other sports besides baseball. I don't. David doesn't play a lot
Yeah, I just
aside
said baseball.
from baseball, but ID. What non-baseball sim to you would qualify for you as a hidden gem?
Um. Well, to be honest, I have non-baseball. I would say football mogul, which is also baseball mogul. There's a football mogul game,
That
and
certainly qualifies as a hidden gem. Yeah.
that's a pretty decent game. The cool thing about it is, and a lot of players don't know this, you can actually create your own offensive and defensive formations and plays, and
Wow.
you can then import them into the game. Yeah, there's like a little creator inside the program that you can create your own defense. It has the standard defensive plays and your stock standard offensive plays. But if you want to create something else based upon your team and stuff, you can actually do that, which is pretty cool. And it does give you pretty good results. Um, it seems it's a pretty fun game. I mean, I don't play it a ton, but I think it's still a pretty decent game for people to try it if they're a big football fan. Because when you buy any of the mogul games, you get all of the seasons. You don't need to purchase
Right.
each season individually. You get every season that's ever happened for free, part of the program.
I mean, it's a general manager sim too. It's not just play the games, but you can make the trades and compete against that too. I played baseball mogul years ago. Now, that's more of, I suppose, if you look at a war game premise, it's more of a beer and pretzel game as opposed to something that's going to give you a headache.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, you can actually go in and color code and design your own uniforms. You can set your ticket prices. You can build your own ballparks. There's a lot of extra stuff which a lot of games don't have. So you can really, it's designed to get you in and play a team as the owner, as the manager, and as the coach, and take that team not just through one season, but multiple seasons where you're drafting players, you're trading players, you're doing something with that team for multiple seasons. And that's where mogul, whether you're playing baseball or football, is kind of designed for. It's not just I'm going to replay the 1987 season. It's I want to play the Mets in the 90s and take them from 1990 to 1999 and see what I can do with them. How many championships can I win in that 10-year period
Mhm.
if I was the owner, if I was the coach, and I was the manager?
Yeah, and it's not as in depth as OOTP. It's fun, and as Dave Gardner says in the chat, that we played the football play not too long ago, and I think he got the $76 to 6-10 or 7-9 over the course of that. Played very fast, very fast. I'm going to bring up the Richard Hanna line of games that he's co-created or certainly programmed. Second and 10 football, which is an offshoot of the first and 10 football, which was a chart and dice and math exercise game, which I played once, printed it off, 3 hour game. Doesn't get the love that Action PC football gets. It's kind of, if you would say that Action PC football is like Strat, this would be like APA. Place calling is very simple, but the results are believable. I've done a couple games. In fact, I did my Super Bowl pre-play, I believe, using that. Not the most visual thing, but as far as actually playing the game, it's quite good. And you can actually sit down there and delay the starts of games. So if you wanted to do your Sunday doubleheader, you could have one game and then go jump right around. I think that's very cool. ID and David's played the cards and dice version. Replay is done by Richard Hanna and is again a very deep cards and dice game. He also has programmed the tennis game, which I featured on my channel. I can't think of it right now. Oh, it's right there. Time travel tennis, and also has done classic soccer, which are all both pure cards and dice ports. Soccer gaming, tennis gaming, golf gaming doesn't get a lot of love from different companies because they probably don't sell real well. But these games are all well done. And if you want, between our Red Sox fan and myself, we featured them both on our channels.
And actually, I've got a non-baseball game that I can show
Okay.
as well. I've played it several times. I've never done a video on it, but I might one of these days. And that is second season football. From
There you
Payback
go.
Fetch. That has a very easy flow to it. The only downside to the game is it takes a long time. I mean, it's probably an hour and a half at least, if not 2 hours when you're first starting. I'm sure once you get the hang of it and play it more often, there's some, fast action cards or instant results if you get a blowout or something. But it's pretty much just checking to see if a blocker or a receiver or a running back has a particular rating 0, 1, or 2. If they've got this rating, then it's like a flow chart. If yes, then go here. If no, then go there. And there's a solitaire version, so you can play it as a solitaire and use the AI within the game to call the defense or whatever you want to do. I've only played it a couple times. I might try to get the USL. They sell the 1984 USFL season. I might
Good
get that.
players on that league, yeah. Herschel Walker, Jim
Be the Washington Federals if I want to be really masochistic.
Wow.
Second season is an awesome game.
I've seen many videos on it, but it's just a long. You've got to sit down and dedicate some time to it. That's the only downside. But I've tried to play strat football, but this is much easier for me.
Yeah. Okay. Oops. Go ahead and approve that message ID, so I don't have to play with the mouse. Let's see. So there's ballpark baseball, which I guess they're trying to build a computer game for. Tony Whitehill's past his poor bedtime. Talks about Football Manager, which is running a soccer team, and that's about as mainstream as you can get. That game has been around forever. So complex that I just, my head hurts after playing it. Does anybody know of a baseball game that restricts 55% of pitcher errors to being on pickoffs or bunts?
Never heard of that.
That's a question. Is there a game that does that?
Never heard of any game doing that.
Yeah, I haven't either. Second and 10 is a very good football game type. Highly recommended. And it comes with every pro season. So if you want to play the 1975 WFL as it goes broke, you can. XFL, USFL, and every pro season from 1920 forward.
Now I'm curious, has anybody played the football game from the same people that do Inside Pitch? I think it's called Inside Blitz or something like that.
That was my next thing, was because we haven't talked about any of those games. Because again, they're all under the radar. Inside Pitch, Inside the Crease, Inside the Paint.
Inside the Cup, which is their new golf game.
You and Stratomatic Delaware did that.
Very good actually. And I know me and Chris from Stratomatic Delaware did an online game.
That was fun.
And the developer ended up watching that, and Chris, we had come across a couple issues, so Chris had emailed him, hey, we were playing this, and this is the issues we came up, and the questions we came up with, and we weren't sure. And he ended up sending Chris a season file because he liked our videos so much. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was awesome. So he's it's a newer game, so he's looking for feedback. He's looking for people to try it out, and let him know what works, what doesn't work, and stuff. But so far, it's really, really solid starting game. It's a lot of fun. It's not complex. You don't have to be a math whiz, but you do need to enjoy numbers and stuff because it's a lot of numbering.
It was very enjoyable to watch you two play that. I own Inside the Crease, the PC version, and there's lots of things I like about it, and there's too much dead time with it. I've watched others play the football game, which again I'm blanking on the name of it. Now
I played.
you did the Bo Jackson replay in baseball using Inside Pitch. What'd you think?
Here's what I'll say about Inside Pitch. Inside Pitch, or Inside Sports in general, all of their games are excellent, but I would never play their basketball, their hockey, or their football game with cards and dice because it's just too complex. It would take too long. I think the computer versions are awesome. Now with the baseball, I think that is dumbed down enough where it's easily. We've played some on my channel. It's not a hard game. The rules aren't too involved. The only problem you run into is with base running, how far they run on singles, how far they run on doubles, etc. But I think it's doable with cards and dice. I just can't see cards and dice, football, basketball, or hockey because there's just too much number crunching. And the computer version will take all that number crunching out for you. So if you want to play these games, which I highly recommend because they're great games, I would get the computer version of them.
Higher Ground Gaming is.
But one thing to beware on the computer version is there's no AI. So
That's
you
right.
have to play both teams, and you have to play every game, or it's not going to get played. There is no let's sim this game. It's all manual. You do it yourself. That's the only downside. If they could do an AI to it like they do in replay baseball PC, it would be a definite boost. And I was on 4 seasons.
Totally agree.
Higher Ground Gaming has done a lot of good videos on the basketball, and I think he's done the football, and of course ID did the.
He's doing
the
a
hockey.
hockey
Yeah.
replay. Well, yeah.
I've played the hockey. Like I said, there's just a little too much dead time for me in the game, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad game. It took me a while to figure it out, but yeah, that's not one you would. That's a PC game. Dave, have you played Inside Pitch?
Oh, I played it a lot. Yeah.
What's your
I've done
impression?
many videos on it. I've played both the PC and the cards and dice. Of course, I prefer cards and dice because I'm just a cards and dice kind of person. But I think the card quality is very good. They're nice and glossy, colorful. The pitcher batter interaction is there on every play. The pitcher sometimes will take the bull by the horns and get the out right away, or sometimes it'll go to the batter. It's your choice. Now, like ID said, sometimes when you get these secondary throws on runners and stuff, that can be a little cumbersome. But otherwise, the help chart that comes with it is very clear. If you get a single pass second, it says if this runner rating is X to Z, he's going to make it. And if he doesn't, he holds. And so that's pretty basic. And they have a lot of seasons involved. I mean, they issue a lot of seasons.
That's good.
So they have plenty to choose from. But I mean, it's a very enjoyable game. I like the interaction. Once you get the hang of it, unless you get one of those, extricated running situations, you can play a game in a half hour, easy.
Yeah, the Inside Pitch is well done, well designed. Pitcher batter interface is awesome, and again, of all of their games and the golf game, I would play the golf game and the baseball game. The other ones are just so complex and involved. You can play them. Don't get me wrong, you can play them. It's just going to take you a long time. It's not as easy as the baseball or the golf.
All right. So if you guys have any questions for the panel, now is the time to get them in and smash that like button. Greatly would appreciate that. We've got all this time and haven't talked about our friend of the community, Anthony, and his boxing game, which he's now come out with some fast action cards. I don't know if you two have tried it out or looked at it or watched any of the. Rob and Al have done some great videos on it, and so has Anthony himself.
Personally, I'm not a boxing person. I know nothing about boxing, so I'd be totally lost. So, I mean, I'll watch the video just to support it, but it's not a game I would play because I'm not a boxing guy.
Yeah, I'm exactly like David. I'm not a boxing guy. But I will support Bleacher Bums Gaming and his product and do whatever I can for him. It's just not something that I would be personally involved with.
Now he's working on the baseball game. If that comes out, I will definitely,
Uh,
be interested in
I've already
either
got
testing it or buying it, one or the other.
I've
So.
already got signed copy #1 coming to my house. So
Okay. Or if he's looking for testers, I'll be glad to test too.
All right. Johnny Smoke says a computer baseball sim needs to be able to be tested via accumulated stats from replay stats for testing. If not tested, it lose possible accuracy proof. That'd be kind of tough, though. I mean, he's talking about specifically about pitcher errors. If you didn't know that was 55% of the errors come on that would drive you nuts. If you didn't know that in advance, right?
But I mean, going back to Anthony, talking about how creative people are creating their games, I think it's brilliant the way he did the baseball concept, looking to see whether they make contact or not. That's like his starting point. Did the
Yes.
batter make contact or not? And in today's game, especially with all these strikeouts, there's a lot of times there's no contact made. When they make contact, they probably hit over 300, but just the fact they don't make contact.
I know that the splits, if you dig deep into the splits at Baseball Reference and see what the batting average is on fly balls, you'd be
Or balls just
stunned.
put in play in general. I mean, just
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's that, but specifically fly balls, it turns into beer league softball numbers there. Todd B.
Oh, go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
Todd B. asked the question: what one game? This is kind of like Desert Island Games here. What one game would you play if you could choose from only one for the rest of your life?
Who you asking?
Who wants to answer it first?
David does.
David does.
Well, I know ID's going to disagree, but I've been Strat through and through, and I'm still a Strat guy from day one. So that would be my one game. Even though I really love payoff pitch, Strat is still my #1 game. If I only had one game to play, it'd be Strat.
Well,
Sir?
if you're asking me if I had to go to a desert island, I can only take one game with me. Which game is it going to be? This is going to probably shock the shit out of all of you. It would have to be Stratomatic, actually.
Really?
Up until about a month ago, I would never have guessed I would say that, but playing it recently on my channel, I've always said it's been a good game. I've played it in the past, but now that I'm playing my Cardinals replay, I can actually see, we talk about when we look at the players' cards, their numbers and stuff, but you can actually see how these players' stats actually make them the player they are. You know what I'm saying? It's there's been big hits in the games that we've been playing. Ryan Terrio, not a great hitter, has come up with some clutch base hit that that we needed. The lefty righty interaction and how well they hit off of lefties, how well they hit off of the right handers, and I don't know. For some reason, I would have to just agree with David and say, for complexity wise, I can get a game done between a half an hour to an hour, and stat wise, I think Stratomatic has got it about where it needs to be. Some of these offshoot games, you just tend to wonder: is the formulas they're using accurate? I did a game the other night with Internet Baseball League, which I love, and I introduced it to everyone, and I hope you guys download it. But it was 1-1 going into the 15th inning, and I could not get someone to get a freaking hit. So you got to wonder: is their formula they're using accurate, or is there something wrong with it? When you look at, was it an anomaly? It was 1-1 in 15 innings. I don't know. So I think Stratomatic, through all the years and all the development cycles, I think their formulas are as accurate as they can get.
And to survive, the only way they could survive their crappy customer service is by having a superior game. And if the game was anything less than top notch, they wouldn't sell because people put up with that stuff just because the game's so good.
going to make this a clean sweep, considering that I probably don't have solar powered laptops there. It would be Strat. No question about it. For one of the games that we've talked about tonight, I probably would do the roster card because it really is just kind of simple in the layout. But it would be, but yeah, it's Strat.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, if we're doing just tonight without Strat and Appa, it would be Payoff Pitch would be the number one guy. If I couldn't do Strat, it'd be Payoff Pitch.
If we're not using, or if we're doing just the offshoot ones,
yeah, I mean that kind of is the spirit of that. Yeah,
I would have to say, probably it would be a toss up between Inside Pitch or Payoff Pitch. One of these.
So there you go. You've made people pass out in the chat by saying that.
I mean, if I brought out Pontar, he can bring out Stratomatic, you know. So,
I've never had a problem with, I mean, the three of us could probably get Al on and do a video just on Strat and get hate mail for years. Tom Usher, I prefer Payoff Pitch and Inside Pitch just because I'm not a big fan of the 50-50 format. I grew up with Strat, but I've gotten away from it because of 50-50. And Dan Douglas says Inside Pitch. You guys are new. Thanks a bunch for watching. 25 likes or 25 watches and only 9 likes. Let's change that, folks. If you're liking this, hit the like button and we get to do more of this type of stuff. What we haven't talked about, and I'm surprised because this certainly qualifies as a hidden gem, is the NPNG.
I was just going to say there's 2 more I want to talk about. One
Please
of them
do.
NPNG. Offshoot of APBA, which we're not allowed to talk about, but basically has a lot more pitcher interaction built into the system. Everything is free. The designer has been adding and creating more things. There's now base stealing used to be built into the system, which it still is, but now he's incorporated actual steal ratings for the players. So if you want to manage your own steal ratings, you can do that. And, everything is free. There's also an Excel helper file, which is also free to help you play the game. So a lot of
as played lineups already loaded into those
as played lineups that you can get in and just, I want to play the game from April 1st between these 2 teams, and you click the button and you're ready to go. And I think it's a wonderful game, wonderful system, very complex, more than APBA, in my opinion. Now, I've not played a lot of APBA. I've played some.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I've played the Master Edition of APBA, so I don't know how it compares to that. But compared to vanilla APBA, it's much more complex than that, which I do like. I like the extra complexity. But, of course, one of the things APBA is known for is, getting a game done in 15 minutes.
Right. And that's the reason why I didn't want to talk about those games is that everyone really knows about them. And I wanted this to be about maybe, because I'll post a video on something or talk about something in Dave Little's Facebook group. And it's like, what game are you using? I'm using this. I've never heard of it. To games that I'm familiar with and the ID's familiar with and Dave is familiar with, but other people are not. And so that's pretty much why none of the big names were kind of not talked about, because you know about them already. No, Todd, the Excel helper does not tabulate stats. It's just a pure board reader.
Correct.
I've played it. I'm not real fond of it. But when I've also played NP3, which would also be considered a hidden gem of the sim world. I like that one better. I have some questions about pitcher's endurance, but any of those APA offshoots, I can certainly see why people like them, because they're easy to learn. And once you get the boards memorized, this kind of goes along quick. And the master game is pretty good too. I think NPNG does a good job in trying to put the basics of APA with some complexities to make a playable game. Not saying that we're not going to have that conversation about what's playable and what's not playable, but I think that gives you enough of a variety. Have you tried the NPNG, Dave?
I have not. I've seen a bunch of videos and I've thought about maybe printing out some of the cards, but just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. I printed out the instructions, but I haven't printed out any cards yet.
31 is still a fly out to center. And thanks, Seth, for the kind words. All right. What was the other one you were going to talk about, ID?
Dice baseball.
You and Al's featured that. Have you played that online?
I've done a few on my channel, not a lot, but a few of them. It takes an offshoot of the 50-50 and says, okay, well, let's rate our pitchers. Are they a 50? Are they a 55? Are they a 60? Are they a 45? So it's basically, it's not a 50-50 split. You got to roll within the pitcher's range. And if you roll in the pitcher's range, which a lot of people like, but from what I understand, it's kind of the game system is kind of going defunct at this point because
he's been on and off for years. He'll run real hot and he'll run really cold. I think at one point at the boxing game or the tennis game, he's got a whole bunch of sports, baseball being one, and they're all very similar.
Hockey, he's got because I got the hockey, I got a few seasons of the hockey. There are quite a few seasons as well. So I mean, there's not just a couple seasons, which is nice, and they're only freaking $5 for a whole season.
Yeah, they're cheap, but there's not a lot of seasons.
Expensive. And the game plays pretty well. The only issue I have with the game is that every time you get a hit off of the batter, or every time you get a hit off the pitcher's card, you got to roll for an error. And I think that should have been incorporated into the system a little bit better because that extra roll slows down the flow of the game.
Yeah, I could see that. I've watched some of Al's games with Bob Gibson, or I think he did the '67 World Series with it, and I think for ID the right team won for that for as long as ID is concerned. Mm-hmm. And it really is interesting to have that control factor change because it makes a huge difference. You get someone like Gibson who's 20 to 75. Or 10-7, whatever it was. I mean, Gibson being Gibson, and then you bring in some Red Sox schlub, and it's like, oh, it's 10-12. Rest of it's off the batter's card. I could pick on them; they're my team. That was very interesting. Kenny said that the creators had some health issues, which I'm sorry to hear. So, but yes, $5 PDFs. Those I've watched some of those. Those are good. Have you tried that one, Dave?
I have not. Okay. Have we talked about replay baseball yet?
I would consider that a hidden gem. Go ahead.
I didn't know if we mentioned it within passing or whatever, but I mean, to me, I think that's it's not your app, but it's not your strat, but it certainly has its niche. To me, it's almost like payoff pitch in reverse because you start with the batter and then you go to the pitcher card to see if the pitcher can stop what the batter's doing or minimize what the batter's doing. Everything's off a chart. They're not on the cards. It's off of a fold-out book or a spiral-bound book, much like APA.
Buy the computer version. There's a PDF that actually has the boards, and so I actually sat there one day at lunch and read the boards. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know they had a PDF of the boards.
Oh, yeah, cool. PDF of the boards. And it's interesting because you get the basic, the result off the batter's card, and then on the pitcher's card, if you've never played the game before, you add a number to it.
Right.
And so it's like, well, that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense until you actually play it and it goes, oh,
right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Like their column 3 is their hits allowed. So the good pitchers are going to have a bunch of ones in there, whereas the bad pitchers are going to have 3s and 4s. And when the batter gets a 14, if you add 1 from a good pitcher, it's an out. But if you add 3 from a bad pitcher, it's a double. I mean, that's how, one number can change the complexion of the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, replay was so good. I started a 2017 replay with the Nats and the Astros. Now, the Astros did what they were supposed to do, which is win. Yeah. But the Nats bullpen was so disgusting. It was too real. You just knew that you couldn't do anything with it. And, I channeled my inner tabletop Earl a couple times and bit my tongue and all that. It was, so that just goes to show how good of an engine that is when it can frustrate you just like it was to watch the real game.
And much like APA, there are results there that you could, once you play it a few times, you'll memorize. Like if you get a 2 through 6 in column 1 or column 2, it's a strikeout. If you get a 36 in column 6, it's a strikeout. I mean, there's certain things that are going to come. It's like a 14 and APA is a fly to left. I mean, it's just things that automatically, like a 13 in APA, it's a strikeout. I mean, So you kind of once you played a few times, and I can play a game of replay in a little over half hour.
Yeah, and
It's not
that's
a long game
and
at
it's
all.
a very deep because the ballpark has a factor in some roles, and there's lots of chances for the outfielder. Yeah, no, it's a
Mhm.
very good game. Tom Usher says I really like the PC version of replay. Don't think I could play with the dice though. A lot of number crunching, and you and I, maybe it was off air, Dave, talked about that because I felt the same way, and you said, "Oh no, once you get used to it." So
Oh yeah,
sell
it's very,
Mr. Usher on playing with the cards and dice version.
yeah. The card. I mean, it's most of the times just one roll takes care of everything. Very rarely. I mean, sometimes with the error checks you have to re-roll the dice, but it's very. It's to me, it's very fluid. I mean, especially, and it's a quick learn. I mean, there's not a big learning curve for that. It's one of the easier games I learned. It was easier than Strat, that's for sure.
ID, I know you played the computer version. Have you actually tried out the cards and dice?
Yeah, I played the cards and dice. Now it's interesting when we talk about replay. There's also one thing that other people don't talk about, and that is the tall pitcher cards. So the tall pitcher cards are basically, they're tall pitcher cards. So
They're
what
six,
you
but they're
have,
6x6.
right, is but no, what you have is on a normal pitcher card you have a 6x6 matrix. On a tall pitcher card, what you have is just one number row across the top. And what you
Oh,
do is you take the batter card and you put it down here. So if you roll a column 2, you just look at the column 2 results. So instead of rolling 3 dice, you only roll 2 dice.
and that was the original version of
That was the
replay.
original version.
Right.
And I think they're actually switching or trying to switch, not completely switch over to it, but trying to, you can now order with the tall pitcher cards as well.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of when you roll the 3 dice, you got to look at one of them is for the column, one is for the batter's card, and one is for the pitcher's card. And it can be a little confusing to players. Am I looking at is the blue for the batter, is blue for the pitcher card?
And
Um,
they're actually color coded, so it's very easy because there's
they are
the
color
numbers on.
coded, and it does
Yeah.
help. That is true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. I'm not putting it down at all. I just it's for me personally, the system is a little chunky cards and dice wise. It takes a little bit too long to play it. But with that said, the computer version of Replay Baseball is the best sports simulation game on the market. It is without a doubt the best. The interface, the design, what you can do, keeping track of all the stats, the ability to watch other games in progress, it's just puts you, it makes you happy to play it.
Yep,
That's
that's a Richard Hanna thing, and we talked about second and 10 earlier, and same thing, same thing.
absolutely.
The only downside I have to replay baseball is to me, there's not enough left-right splits in the game. There's a generic 3-6 roll which gives you the left-right, but that's generically for everybody. And there's a few players that are like in their column 6 will have a split result. And there's some pitchers even that are extreme left-right pitchers. But as a whole, I don't think it captures the left-right quite as much as other games do. Certainly not payoff pitch. Payoff pitch captures it much better than that.
Well, and the other thing with the replay is now, just recently, I think within the last 2 months, they have released a 2018 PDF.
Yep.
So you can now download the PDF and print out the
Mhm.
cards for yourself to try it out.
And the
Oh,
game
cool.
components, I think, too, right?
Yes, and the game components as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to purchase cards anymore. You can buy the
Right.
PDF.
Good
I
for
think it was
people.
like $15 or $20 for the PDF. Pretty reasonable for the season file. And that way you can try it out for a season. I did that.
Yeah.
I bought the 2018. I wanted to try it out. I played a couple games, and I just decided, man, this is a lot of work for cards and dice. Where the computer version will mitigate that for you.
Yeah. And a good thing about the computer version too, for somebody new, you get a free 5-day trial in the computer version. So you're not committed. You can just try it for 5 days. You don't like it, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah,
In fact, they will not even sell you a season until you've downloaded and tried it, because you
Yep.
have to make sure it runs on your computer before you can order a season.
Yep.
same thing with all of the golf game and the second and 10 football. all come with playable demos that are whole, and that they want to know to make sure. Let's see. Can I think Appa Chatter went to go eat? I would like it. Todd B says I would like it if Dynasty League PC baseball, if I could roll my own dice and see it on the screen, which you can in replay and of course Stratomatic. And Mr. Mike was talking about Mark Miller's great bowling game in the pocket, which is absolutely free. Hidden that certainly is a hidden gem. Now, Dave and I were talking just before coming on about whether or not the Action PC line would be considered a hidden gem, and I kind of shuddered to think that it would, considering that the football game's been out for 25 years. But considering that, again, once in a while I'll post a video and get questions of what are you using to play this with? I don't understand how it can be a hidden gem. It's been around forever. I know that Dave has it, and I think ID. Do you own any of those? I know you don't play them on feature them.
I own just about every baseball season. I own most of the hockey seasons, and I own some of the football.
Okay. So, would you call it a hidden gem?
I wouldn't call it a hidden gem, but I think it's a gem that needs to be talked about more. Let's just say that. I wouldn't say it's a hidden gem. I would say half of the people know about it and half the people don't. So I don't think it's like a hidden gem, but I think a lot of people would benefit with hearing about it.
If you've watched this channel, you know all about Action PC. And it's just because it streams so well. I mean,
or Dave Little's channel.
Or Dave Little with the basketball, especially. Yeah. So I just kind of shudder to think that it's a hidden gem. But
I think they could do more to present they want to present it more of a like as an action type game and keep everything hidden in the background. All of the game engine part of it, the baseball game engine.
Right.
There are very few opportunities for the player to. I mean, there's a message that'll pop up and say, "Do you want to send your runner home? He has a 78% chance of success," but you don't know where these numbers are derived from. Is it based upon the fielder's arm and the speed of the runner?
I think so,
and
yeah.
what kind of modifiers are involved in that? And they keep all that stuff kind of hidden. And, I think they're just trying to become more of an action game as opposed to Inside Pitch is more of a cards and dice computer.
Right. It's
almost like they're trying to be it's almost like they're trying to be a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True story. He actually released a cards and dice version of a baseball game back in the early 80s.
Wow.
And
see, that's a good thing about something like either Strat or Replay on the PC is what happens. Like if you want to bring in a pinch hitter, you can go back and look what would have happened if I'd have used this guy as a pinch hitter instead of this guy, because you can see the results with what the dice roll was. If I'd have used this other guy, he'd have got a hit. Whereas in Action PC, you have no clue.
Right. And that's a thing. A Digital Diamond is the same way. Someone asked about Diamond Mind, which I'm not even sure
very familiar with that.
Production anymore, is it?
Oh, it's still functioning.
Oh yeah. It's just expensive as heck. It costs you like $60 for the program, and each season file is like $25, and they never go on sale. And it's very text heavy. There's there's no personality to it whatsoever. It's like he hits a line drive, it falls into center field, he makes it to first base. That is it.
You can add player photos and ballpark photos, but that's about as much as you're going to get with that. There's no sound whatsoever. It's just words on a screen, descriptive words, but they're words on a screen. So you kind of have to use your imagination and almost announce the game to yourself.
Yes. Well, I've never done anything like that before.
I guess it's very, statistically accurate. There's a lot of people that swear by the game engine.
Which used to be considered the gold standard for PC games, which is interesting.
And I thought it came from Pursue the Pennant. I thought the people that made Pursue the Pennant did that game, but I'm not sure.
Well, here's what I don't like about Diamond Mind, and maybe they've changed things because my version is like the 2016 version. they'll actually say, like, Action PC says, do you want to send your runner home from third base? And it'll give you like a percentage chance and everything in Action PC. In Diamond Mind, it just says, do you want to
Yes,
send your runner
yes,
home? He
no
has
question.
a small chance of success. You don't. Does that mean he's got a 1%, a 12%? It doesn't tell you like an actual percentage. It says
Yeah.
he's got a good chance, or he's got a bad chance, or a small chance. It doesn't actually tell you what that means.
No, yeah, I've never played it. It was always too expensive, and there's only so many. I can't own every possible game, but like I said, it was considered the gold standard of that, and I think Action PC is kind of taken over for that because of the seasons that are available. But as is being said in the chat, it's kind of like the game engine's hidden behind the screen, like the Wizard of Oz.
Right.
You know, I've played enough of it that I trust the results when I play. Um, when I'm playing the football game, it tells you, look, you got a 52% chance of completing this pass. You're not seeing if the dice roll is 25 or 972, but I guess that's a $64,000 questions for the sim community is closed. Do you trust a closed engine? I know I do. I've never played in a game of Action PC anything that I went that shouldn't have happened. I can usually go back to manual error about what play call. I mean, we can bring up the infamous walk-off safety from Kansas City and Denver in football, but it, you know, uh, I mean, what's your thoughts on a closed engine?
I hate it. I totally hate it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think you just have to understand that you won't know anything that happens behind the curtain.
Right.
I don't like that. But here's one thing that since we're talking about action sports, I think they're awesome games. I enjoy them. The only issue I have is they make very small improvements every year to the games.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to purchase them every year, okay? It's not like Stratomatic where you have to have a certain version to play a certain season. But I would like a bigger jump in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of coming out with a new version every year, come out with a new version in a couple years, but have it a bigger leap forward.
Yeah, no, that's
They only add a couple things every year, and those good things are good, but I wish they would just do more with it. There's
mm-hmm.
more they can do, and I'm not sure if the coding of the game is probably 15 or 20 years old now. If that
It's visual
coding
based,
is too
man.
old or not.
I will say that Dave Coach probably has more sales than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean the
So he
games
got a
are
sale
very
every
easy to
month.
get into. But that golf game is always on sale.
And his baseball seasons are too,
Yeah,
seemingly.
but not as often as the golf. But yeah, no,
Wow.
I have all the baseball seasons. Um, all right. So any more questions? Any more games that we didn't mention that or we talked about we talked about a lot of different games tonight, and hopefully we didn't lose too many people along the way. There are many different ways to game and many different ways to enjoy your games. And so like I hope that people keep developing. This really seems to be kind of strange in this game era of computers and Xboxes and all that. The golden age. This is the golden age in cards and dice simulation, guys. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, there's just so many options out there.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was
But
just
you ain't
counting
seen them
up.
all before it come out. So
I like to keep track of what seasons I have and through which games, so I don't order the wrong thing. I've got 13 different cards and dice games on my list with 25 different seasons worth of stuff. So 13 that I own. I've got another box coming this week, which I'm not talking about yet, but I've got another box coming with another game system.
Oh wow! And so okay, so
So
what?
the only one I'm actually officially going to be missing is APBA. That's the only game that I can think of that I won't own after this week.
You've
Wow.
never owned APBA?
I've never
ID,
owned
you've never
APBA baseball. No.
Wow. I'm
never.
surprised. But you enjoy the MPNG.
Yes. Yes. I enjoy. I think I will enjoy APBA, but it's a big commitment because you need the $30 basic game, you need the $30 master game, and then each season file is $75.
Yeah, you get 900
You're
cards. So
talking $130 plus shipping to get into APBA.
if you're going to do a detailed replay, yeah. We didn't talk about Cadco All-Star Baseball with spinners and discs. That was before my time.
Anything with spinners and discs, I don't play.
Yeah. There's a game that I think Al Red Sox plays called, is it called All Star Baseball? It's got the game mat.
Yes.
I've never played it, but I've seen a few people play it. I don't know much
He's
about it.
demoed it, and I believe that's still a work in progress.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. The Cadco All-Star ones I've seen, and the first one was Face the Yankees, and it was designed for for kids, and I can imagine all the arguments that ensued when something kind of landed on a line. A strikeout or a home
Is it
run?
a strikeout or a home run? Right.
Yeah, well, my two black eyes say it was a strikeout. Clinton joins us real late. And of course, Tom Usher highly recommends Anthony's Glory Days boxing, great quality cards, and the great action. Nagamo with a spinner. No, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
The only thing with a spinner, it better say whammy. No whammy.
Big bucks,
No
big
whammy.
bucks, no whammy. Stop. Todd B says that was his first baseball game. My first baseball game was with Topps cards. It was called Championship Baseball, and it was a glossy picture of the regular mid '80s Topps cards. So they weren't the highest quality in the world. And on the back, it was a basic 2D6 game. I don't think there was any pitcher interaction with it, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Well,
All
here
right.
I will say, since you talked about the golden age, I will say it's a good time for anyone to get into sports simming because there's a lot of different options for you, whether you're free options or cheaper options, in-depth games, basic games, advanced games, cards, charts, fast action cards. Lots of variety for anyone out there that can do it.
Absolutely.
There's not an itch that can't be scratched.
And you can pretty much find every season in a game that's with its hidden gems. I'm not even if you take away the action PC. I mean the Valhalla and the roster card and the play ball. Everything's available. Well, Valhalla's not been updated since 2010. Or the MPNG. He's got more seasons coming out all the time, and really for most of these games, maybe with the exception of the Action PC, where I know he has other programmers, these really are one-man band operations with limited websites or no websites. Shootout hockey, which we were talking about earlier, the guy doesn't even have a website. You email him.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of options out there, which we and if anyone knows of anyone, well, let us know, and maybe we'll get a copy of it and try it out for you guys.
absolutely. I know that I got an email or a message on Facebook a while ago about Friday Night Lights, which is a high school football game, but I really can't limit it about what I can do for cards and dice and what I can show you for cards and dice. I mean, there are games coming out all the time that need testers. So if you're a game designer, send us a note. Or we all have channels. If baseball, David especially, but ID and I play other. We're not real basketball fans, even though I will play basketball on occasion. Send us a note. We'd love to look at it, give you some constructive feedback on it. I mean, like I said, this is the golden age. You're never going to find more stuff available than there is there right now. It's not. We don't want to not include the big games, but as I said earlier, you know about them already. There's nothing that we can say about that. So, closing thoughts. We'll start with you, David.
Closing thoughts. Like I said, there's not an itch out there that can't be scratched. You just have to figure out if you're going to get in the hobby for the first time, what is it you like? Do you like real detail? Do you like simple? Do you like something in between? That to me is where I know we're not supposed to talk about strat, but that's where, to me, where strat comes in because there's three ways you can play the game. You have your options: basic, advanced, super advanced, and same with APA. You've got those Merino boards that kind of bridge the gap between the basic and the advanced. But then you've got the other games like Inside Pitch and Payoff Pitch, which to me are fairly simplistic at its highest level. So you got your choice. And if you're not a cards dice guy, there's plenty of PC games out there. There's replay,
Right.
there's action, there's different varieties of PC games to play. So there's whatever your itch is, there's a scratch out there for it. I mean, there's not a game out there that you can't play there's not a game out there that you want that's not out there yet already. It's pretty much everything's pretty covered.
ID.
Where I would say if you're interested at all in any kind of gaming, whether, as David said, on the computer or cards and dice, go and check out a lot of the YouTube videos out there and watch people play it. You'll get a real good idea. Is this something I like? A lot of people doing live streams, and you can ask them questions about it. So spend some time and just find out more about the games, more about the different kinds there are out there. Find out, the pricing. Find out, how easy it is to get a hold of things, and just watch people as they play them. Go in and watch their videos. Post questions. I get questions all the time on videos that I post, and I reply to everyone that asks me a question about it. So if you're new to the sports gaming, you want to get into it, watch some videos, and also, just kind of watch what people are doing on their YouTube channels.
And
Between
I would second that because the reason I bought Payoff Pitch and the reason I bought Inside Pitch and the reason I bought Replay and the reason I bought History Maker is because I saw them previously on YouTube and I got exposed to it and saw it and said, oh, that looks like a game I'd like to try. Without YouTube, I would never have known those games were out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I would, ID, baseball demos, and now Red Sox fans try out all these different games pretty much all the time. I mean, baseball demos is doing his Manic Monday thing where he's pretty much going to rotate between 7 or 8 different games between now and the rest of the baseball season. So if you don't like what you see in one week, it's another game engine the next week.
Yeah.
And
And
Al,
tomorrow is Replay baseball. So
so
tomorrow we
who have you got?
1980 Reds and Dodgers from June 3rd, 1980.
There you
Because I want to play the exact date for the year that I'm playing. So it's June 3rd. I went through June 3rd of all my replay seasons and tried to pick the game I thought was the most interesting. And this is the one. It's I believe it's Tom Seaver against Bob Welch. I thought it was a good pitching matchup.
Yes, he does other things besides puns. ID features a lot of different games. Just because I feature Action PC, it's much more of ease for me. Not that I certainly play other things. I just don't do them necessarily on camera.
Now, I only pun Ron's videos. That's the only time I pun.
That's right.
Now I do on my own videos. I'll sneak a slick pun in under the radar that if you're not paying attention, you'll just miss it. So, but sometimes I'll do play on words on my own. But most of the time it's just hitting you because I got free time to do it. I'm not occupied. So.
And if we didn't get to the game that you were thinking of, such as Ballpark, I don't think anyone of us have played Ballpark.
I played Ballpark. I got it on my channel.
What'd you think of it?
It was okay. It's kind of in between Fall Classic and Retro roster card. I didn't like the D8s as much as I thought I would, and because it doesn't seem like it, but 88 comes up an awful lot. And 88 is a wild, crazy play, right? So you have a lot of wild, crazy plays. So,
all right. So if you're on the fence, a lot of the people who create these games will respond to your emails. Don't be nasty with them. Don't sit there and say, you so-and-so, I hate this, I hate that. Don't ever do this again. They're not going to, they might respond to that after they block you. But if you have questions, if we can't answer them, the creators are just would love to talk to you for the most part. I know that Dave over at Action PC has great customer service. Anthony's bouncing around all the time for the boxing. Game create designers have been at ID's channel when he's trying out some games. I mean, Payoff Pitch has some very good customer service. Don't be afraid to interact. I mean, this community is not huge. And so whatever.
And Chris at Inside Sports is very good too.
Absolutely. Not ballpark. Okay. Anyway. So don't be afraid to reach out to people because they're just kind of like us and just enjoy their own creations and want to make the experience the best that they can for everybody involved. And so the example of ID with the charts for Payoff Pitch, I think, has been generally well received.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Pete Ventura has 2 great boards over there. All right. So
before we sign off, just want to shamelessly plug our Tuesday night if you want to.
That's what I was going to go to ask you about.
Okay, go ahead.
So what's coming up on your channel, ID?
Tuesday night. It's going to be June 4th on Tuesday night, but we're going to have our May baseball review. We're going to have baseball demos, Sports Time Machine, and Retro Sports Network coming over. We're going to talk what happened in baseball in May, and you're going to have a good time talking about our thoughts and feelings about what had happened. I've got a lot to say. I'm sure these guys have a lot to say as well.
Always. Of course.
That's if Ron survives the pregame.
We're going to do that Tuesday night after Ron gets done with his thing on Tuesday night.
That's right. We had the first ever Patreon game in the community, the opening day between the Red Sox and the Milwaukee Brewers from 1987. And why the hell did they not have used Bruce Hurst or Okan Boyd? Bob Stanley takes the mound for the defending American League champions against a Milwaukee team that's the year they started 13-0, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think was Clemens hurt or holding out?
Clemens was holding out, and there was a particular rule that year that if you didn't sign by a next date, you couldn't sign until May 1st.
Yeah, no, the Brewers started 13-0, much like the Braves, I believe, started 13-0 in 82.
They were eventually overrun by Detroit and Toronto. Toronto would have won that division if Tony Fernandez didn't break his leg the last week of the season.
Yeah. That was one of the best games I've ever seen. That final game of the 87 season between Detroit and Toronto was Jimmy Key against Frank Tanana. I think it was 1-0.
It was during the football strike that year too. What did I have for breakfast this morning? I can't tell you, but I remember that. So next scheduled stream we have a doubleheader for you on Tuesday. It is Toronto and Baltimore as we continue with the 82 replay at lunch, and then the Patreon special. Ron grits his teeth through a Bob Stanley start against the Milwaukee Brewers, and then we'll all go over to ID's channel and talk about current baseball. So thanks a bunch, you guys.
And tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, rather, is Manic Monday.
Manic Monday, as you said, it's the Reds and the Dodgers from.
And what time is that? You're running that at 12, David?
At noon. Yeah, I'm going to premiere it at noon. That's kind of my thing. Yep. And it's 1980 replay baseball, cards and dice, Reds and Dodgers.
Excellent.
I'll be there.
From June 3rd.
All right. So for those of you who hit the like and sat there and watched all this time, we greatly appreciate it. And in a couple of weeks or so, we'll have another topic for your disposal and talk more about this great hobby of ours. Until then, I'm Ron Juckett. He's Dave, and that's ID, and we'll talk to you the next time.